Some breaking 49ers news on this Monday evening. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for joining us. The Niners signing tight end Logan Thomas in NFL free agency. Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network breaking this news just moments ago. And here is the tweet right here that the Niners working to finalize a deal with the veteran tight end in Logan Thomas. After a 55-catch season with the Commanders in 2023, Thomas returns to the NFC West, where he began his career as a quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And him starting his career as a quarterback is certainly an interesting story in the path that he's had as a professional football player in the NFL. And my immediate takeaway in seeing this news, that is your backup tight end for the Niners. All offseason, we have been discussing on this show how tight end depth behind George Kittle is an issue. And the 49ers have tried to bring in a tight end in free agency for a long while. They tried to poach Brock Wright away from the Detroit Lions, but Detroit matched the offer sheet. And then in the NFL draft, after it, Kyle Shanahan had said, you know, looking back, I wish we could have picked the tight end. The board didn't fall our way. And then during OTAs, tight end continued to be a question. George Kittle on the sideline, still recovering from core muscle surgery. We weren't really sure who was going to get the first team reps with Kittle shelved going into mandatory minicamp this week, or who was going to be the backup once Kittle returned. We know the answer to that question. Logan Thomas is a very good athlete, a very talented pass catcher, and this is a really good addition for this Niners team. It's yet another really good player added to the offensive arsenal for head coach Kyle Shanahan and quarterback Brock Purdy. As for that path for Thomas, he played quarterback at Virginia Tech. And at the NFL level now, since he's had to add weight, he stands in at 6'6", 250. So when he was at Virginia Tech, he was a huge quarterback with a big arm, very difficult to bring down as a runner. And then he was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals as a quarterback. It became pretty clear he wasn't going to play that position at the professional level, but he was taken in the 4th round. Some draft evaluators at that time did have some questions. Okay, is he going to be a quarterback in this league? Is he going to be an athlete? That was all the way back in 2014. So he doesn't work out as a quarterback, and after a couple of years of really seasoning his game, he latches on with the Buffalo Bills in 2017, 2018, with the Lions in 2019, and then for the last 4 years, he's played for the Washington Commanders when he has had to be a weapon in which defenses have to plan for and to plan up to go up against, because he is so large in stature, is such a good athlete going down the seam, and he can really climb the ladder, go up and get it. You look at some of the spider chart athletic metrics, he grades very, very highly in those areas. So I'm very excited about this move because you fulfill the depth option, you bring in a really solid player, and what was a question mark has now been solved. His numbers last year in 2023, 15 starts. He's also played a lot of football at tight end over the last few years. These numbers are nothing to scoff at. Like, he had 55 catches for 496 yards, 9 yards per catch to go alongside 4 touchdowns. And the Niners' actions, I think, have really spoken volumes throughout this offseason. And here on this show, I've said over the last couple of years, I'd love to see more 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, George Kittle, and another tight end. And I want to see a tight end who's actually a threat to catch the football, because Charlie Warner, Ross Dwelley, who have left this team, never were that. They were never dynamic in the pass game. So really, it was George Kittle, best tight end in the NFL last year, putting together quite the resume, who could be a blocker and a pass catcher, but you didn't have that other tight end to run 12 personnel, who's also a pass-catching threat, to make you difficult to game plan against, to make you more diverse as an offense. And that's why the 49ers tried to sign Brock Wright away from the Detroit Lions. He does have pass-catching ability, and in this offense as a tight end, you have to be able to block. So this is another weapon on this offense. And earlier today on the show, we had previewed and talked about what the Niners could do in free agency, some moves that could be happening for the Niners with contract extensions, because following the Eric Armstead release post June 1 designation, the Niners had $25 million in cap space. So you had a feeling they were going to make a move or some moves. This is one of those moves. I imagine some more moves could happen. This is why you subscribe to the channel. The news happened about 20 minutes ago. We're already live giving you in-depth analysis. We're not putting on the camera, just talking about this move, giving you some light thoughts. We're going deep into Logan Thomas here, giving you some great football breakdowns. Hit that sub button as we approach 134,000 subscribers. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Last 4 years for Thomas, you look at the production here. Last 2 years, he's been available. 2021, he was not injured, only played in those 6 games. But before that, 16 games played. And you see the consistency here. And keep in mind that the talking point that I'm about to get to, the Commanders have not had great quarterback play. But in 2020, 72 catches, 670 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And then in those 6 games in 2021, he had 3 touchdowns. In 2022, numbers dip, 39 grabs, 323, and a touchdown. But then he rebounds from that to have a very solid 2023 campaign. He was the starting tight end for the Commanders. He is not going to be a starting tight end for the 49ers. But if an injury were to happen, this is a player who does have a lot of starting experience. So when you don't have good quarterback play, it really is difficult to gauge how good are you. You turn on the tape, you look at what he does. He's a load to bring down in open space, solid route runner, good athlete who can really go up and snag it. That's kind of what he's going to be able to bring to the table. And as far as what the Niners offense brings to the table, we've kind of talked about a change and a shift in offensive philosophy from Kyle Shanahan. You have a great wide receiver room, and then you add to it with Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing. Are you going to spread it out a little bit more? You can do that, and now could you run more 2 tight end sets? Now, what does this mean for some of the young tight ends on this Niners roster? Cam Latu, Braden Willis, they have to prove themselves. I would say Latu, as a former third-round pick going into year 2, has not practiced all offseason, going into mandatory minicamp, coming off the torn meniscus, dropped a lot of passes last year. Roster seat is hot, my man. Willis is interesting because he offers more special teams ability. He could play a little bit of H-back throughout OTAs. He performed pretty well. And then Eric Saubert, I'd say see ya. Never thought he was going to make the roster to begin with. Do you like the signing of Logan Thomas? L for like, D for dislike. Let me know what you think of this move for San Francisco here. And Father's Day is coming up in a couple of Sundays. If you want to get your pops, your dad, something special, and if he's a diehard Niner fan, these shirts are perfect. Number 1 dad, Niners logo on the front, only $26. Limited time only. Use that link down below, chatsports.com/49dad. We'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's video. And another reminder, hit that sub button. We'll be live tomorrow, mandatory minicamp live, practice takeaways right here on the show. See you then.